This is the Journey Podcast. We highlight the journeys of our guests, where they've been, where they are now, and where they are going. Let's join them on their journey. Welcome to the Journey Podcast. Today I am joined by Rick Baxter of the Alliance Area Development. Thanks for being with us today, Rick.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so this is a little bit more of a unique position that Rick holds because there's not 10,000 of these types of jobs in the world. Maybe there is. I don't know how many. But it's a really fascinating role that Rick has at Alliance Area Development, and a very important role. So could you explain a little bit about what you do as the Alliance Area Development Foundation? And some of those viewers who are maybe not local to our area, Alliance is the city that Astoria is based in, our sponsor of the Journey Podcast, and Rick is responsible for the helping with the development piece of that region. So tell us some more about your role.
Yeah, so just some background. Alliance Area Development was started a little over 20 years ago, and kind of how it was started, there was a lot of local business people that felt there wasn't enough being done to proactively go out and look for businesses to try to bring them here and develop economic development here in the city. So they decided to put some money together. They started the foundation. So kind of how we have it, there's kind of three pieces to economic development in this city. You have the Chamber of Commerce, which is really more focused on the small business and the networking side of things. And then the city has economic development, but they're really more focused on helping with the laws and all the things that have to go through for someone to get a building built, that type of thing. So that's why they got together. They wanted someone to be more of a kind of a salesperson for the City of Alliance, be out there to represent, be the first point of contact. And so that's kind of how we got started. And I've been in this role a little over 2 years. I actually had, my background was 20 plus years in commercial banking. So the board, being a local Alliance guy, born and raised here, when the prior Harry Paytas, who was in the position prior to me, decided to retire, they were looking for somebody. And my name came up as hey, this is a local guy, knows a lot of local business owners, and is really somebody who loves Alliance and would be a great person to represent us. And so that's kind of how I got into the role. And so really what I'm doing is I'm trying to help our businesses, existing businesses here, help them with whatever needs they have if they're expanding. We try to get together with other local, not on the local, but we have the Stark County Economic Development Group, Stark Economic Development Board, and then the regional, which is Team NEO, that works a lot with the Jobs Ohio. And so I kind of always say, whenever there's a company out there that has a need, I'm going to get the band together. So I get bring everybody together, and I kind of feel like I'm like the quarterback for these meetings. Get everybody together, and let's just sit and talk. Hey, what are you doing? What kind of grant money can we possibly get to help you with this growth? And then try to put all that together to help a company with their growth or whatever those needs will be. And then also trying to help them with helping with employee recruitment, which is a big topic right now too.
So maybe define a little bit more. I think economic development seems like this real abstract idea. What does really economic development mean? I think maybe many of us know development, we're going to go dig up some dirt and build a building out there, and that's kind of build houses, and that's kind of development. But what does economic development really mean in your role? Yeah,
so really what it means is you kind of take a look at the big picture. In my role, to go out and try to find companies that are maybe looking to relocate. So we find a company, we bring them into Alliance, they build a building, they create jobs. Those jobs then, local people maybe get better paying jobs that they can go get. And then in turn, the more of that we do, the more it helps our local economy, which kind of trickles down then. You have people getting paid better, more jobs available, which in turn you think hopefully decreases crime. You have less people that are not making money, but there's more jobs available. It also helps all the local churches maybe get better attendance, they get more people coming here. Okay. And so just by doing what we do, it kind of trickles down and affects all over the local school districts. They have more people moving into their districts, which means more kids coming to the area, more tax revenue for the city. So by doing those types of things and being proactive, it really trickles down and helps all of the local economy to grow in a sense.
So this is kind of a pretty important aspect, and it affects a lot of things, because there's like towns in America that have just died, these ghost towns, and being proactive, moving the other direction and saying, hey, we're going to help you figure out how to fit into this community. Because that's probably everything from infrastructure, you've got to think about roads and power lines and utilities and all those things to put those together to bring in a company like this. Am I correct? Sure,
yeah. In fact, recently meeting with a company that's looking to put a building up in our industrial park. They have need to get rail access. So we have to get the railroads involved to help with all the legal things it is to get a little road or a little railroad track that goes to their particular building. So there's a lot of rules that we have to get to follow for that. So we had to get the railroad involved, and then we have to look at how much power do they think they're going to need. So we get the power company involved.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you got to think about, okay, is there going to be enough capacity for water if they need water for their whatever they're manufacturing. So there's a lot of different things that go into that. Fortunately, in our industrial park, a lot of those things when it was built were built forward thinking, and a lot of that power and water supply and all that has been put in, which makes it really attractive because it's kind of the dirt's ready to go.
Right, yeah.
It's move-in ready. You just come and build it, and everything should be there. So we just have to follow up with all the rules and regulations and make sure everything is working for them.
Wow, so there's a lot of moving pieces in projects like that. You just don't throw a building up and away you go.
Yeah, for sure.
So you come from banking, so banking to economic development. Do you think was that an easy jump? Was it a hard jump into this role?
I feel like there's certain things about that were easy. In my 20 plus years of commercial banking, I spent a lot of time with business owners, working with companies. Working with accountants, lawyers, things like that. So there was a lot of experience in those types of things with meetings and with those types of people. And that has kind of carried over to the economic development side, because in what I do, I have to involve a lot of those business owners, accountants, the lawyers and those types of things. I have to have all that background involved. So with those connections, that's made it easier. Hey, I might know somebody in that department, I've got contacts in the building industry. Hey, you're looking for a building to build. Oh, here's a contact person that can help you and help you through this process.
Right.
So with a lot of the connections I had, that really made it a little easier. I think the one thing, I guess you could say, is the challenging thing in the banking world. Things move a little quicker. You work with a client, you get them through the process of getting a loan. You get the loan approved, get it funded, and they're ready to go to build or buy whatever they're going to do. In economic development, I think as we were kind of chatting a little earlier, you kind of plant some seeds with somebody, and it maybe check back with me in a couple of months. And we've had, for instance, there's a project going on here in Alliance that the company actually I've been talking to that's looking to build an industrial park. I started those conversations 2 years ago.
Wow.
And they're just getting through the process of actually now purchasing the land. But it's been multiple contacts over 2 years. So there's a little bit more patience involved in that kind of process with economic development, whereas in the banking world it was a little faster. So
you're saying you're planting those seeds, and then they might not all grow because one thing fell through on you. And that could be
exactly.
It's like these massive undertaking, these massive projects, and if one thing falls through, what if it doesn't work with the railroad? What if it doesn't work with the water? And then all of a sudden, no, I'm sorry, it's not going to work.
Yeah, and then you take into with the coronavirus coming in. I mean, there were things that we had in the works prior to that, and it basically shut everything down. Nobody was going to do anything as far as building a building with all all that was going on. So that really put a wrinkle into a lot of things too.
Yeah, so tell us maybe briefly about COVID. Did that just stop economic development, or were there some creative things you were able to do to keep that churning?
Yeah, I think it did really slow things down because the biggest thing was, and it actually changed the way a lot of the businesses think. A lot of business realized, wow, maybe we don't have to have a building. We've got people that can work from home, and we don't have to build a building. Maybe we can just, we have to rent space. So that kind of changed the way people thought. So I think that kind of slowed the process, but also with all of the unknowns of what's going to happen, when is it going to end. But since I would say here in the past 6 months, it seems like people are kind of ready to go again. We're starting to see, okay, let's get this going. Let's start getting the paperwork done, get the land purchased, and start the process. The other thing that has kind of slowed things down too, as far as the building, is building costs. Building costs, pre-COVID were a lot lower, and so now to build a building, it's a little bit more expensive. So we have seen some companies that said, hey, at the beginning, that before COVID, they were looking at building a building, and now they're like, maybe we're not going to build. Maybe we just want to look for an existing building and pay a little bit less.
Yeah, definitely some things in the great resource there with Alliance Area Development to find that.
Yeah.
Tell me through the banking journey and the economic development journey, what's one thing in your journey that you really didn't expect to happen?
Wow, let's see. I guess even when I was in banking, I had always looked at, I've known the two people who were my predecessors in this position, always looked at, wow, that would be a job I think I would really enjoy. In my banking world, I really, loved what I did. I loved, the banking business, enjoyed it, had very good career there in that too. But I didn't think I would enjoy economic development as much as I do. I just, once I kind of got in, prior to when I started, obviously COVID hit. And I had, I think one of the things that maybe surprised my board is how many calls that I make. I'm not the type of person that wants to just sit in the office and wait for the phone to ring.
Yeah.
I want to go out and visit companies, find out how I can help them. And so I think that was one of the things that I've been able to kind of transfer over to my days in banking, because in banking we did a lot more of that. So I've tried to carry that over, and I think that's kind of been helpful for me because that's one of the things I enjoy the most, is going out to talk to these business owners, and they love to talk about their business, and especially the manufacturing businesses, and see how they make things. And we have a lot of really good entrepreneurs that started businesses out of their garages that are now employing 400 or 500 people. So it's kind of fun to see that and work with them and look for the next one that we can develop into that type of a business.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. You get to see a lot of different things, and then you kind of figure out how to fit everybody together.
Yeah.
Because businesses support businesses, and what's a good business to support these other ones that are in the local area?
Yeah.
Is probably a fun challenge. But maybe that leads us, are there any challenges you're facing right now in the economic development world?
Yeah, I think as kind of I prior mentioned, the cost of building supplies have slowed things down. I think we probably have a lot more activity. The one thing that we are seeing is there is a lot of people that are looking more into starting smaller businesses. We've had a lot of calls. We still get those calls, even though the chamber still gets some of those. With my banking background, I have a lot of contacts that I'd worked with in the past. That was one of the roles I had, was helping people from getting their small business plan and getting them to the right contacts to help them with that and getting them going. But it seems like maybe because when COVID hit and the job market shrunk, people were like, well, let me see what else I can do to make some money, and maybe had started something on the side. And now they're realizing, hey, maybe I can make this work. So we're seeing some of that, and I refer a lot of those people to a couple organizations. There's one called SCORE, and they're a retired business executives in all different fields that help them through the process of putting together the business plan, getting it ready to get to a bank to get funding and that type of thing. And then also Raymond Johnson has a minority small business development center here in Alliance. And we've had some minority contacts that are looking to start businesses that he is helping them with those same processes. So it's kind of exciting to see, that happening, because like I said, we could be one of those groomed into the next big employer. So it's kind of fun to see.
Absolutely. So just having those connections in the community helps you to just ramp them right into the right option for them. So tell me, you coming from the banking background, I'm sure you saw a lot of economic development, now into the economic development. What would you say is the most important lesson you've learned in your career?
I think for me, and it's always being honest. Honest whether, if you're working with somebody and maybe their financial situation isn't, back in the banking world, isn't good enough to get a loan at right now. But being honest with them about it, not trying to just say, oh yeah, I think we'll be able to get that done, we'll be able to get that done. And working with them to say, hey, we can't get this done now, but here's where we can set a goal to get you to where you're going to be in a better position to maybe get a loan. So those are, types of things that, I've always been that type of person even in my career. And same with economic development. Somebody comes in and says, hey, I want to go ahead and build a big building. And, break it down. Hey, honestly, let's look at this in the big picture. Here's maybe something that's going to be better fit for you. And trying to help them be more of an honest guide for them to help them be successful. So. Yeah,
being honest, very, very important, especially if you're trying to put a project together. You'd hate to for them to invest a ton of resources and find out down the line that it's not going to work at all. Mm-hmm. So maybe tell me, what do you think, in your opinion, is most important personality traits somebody would need to do what you do in economic development?
I would say, being able to, or being a people person. Economic development is a lot working with people. And I would say one of the key things is to be humble. Economic development in all over, there's economic development people all over the country, but we're doing a lot of things that are behind the scenes. You don't always have somebody saying, patting you on the back, hey, good job, because a lot of things are kept secret for a while and you don't know what's going on. But being humble about, hey, this isn't all about, when we get a business coming here, this isn't, hey, Rick Baxter brought that business here. No, it's not just me. It's working with the city. The city helped, they had their part to help this happen. Maybe Stark Economic Development Board, Team NEO, we have lots of different partners that all play a role. So it's more like celebrating a team win versus, an individual win. And being a team player, definitely being a team player helps I think, to be more successful. There's some organizations, it's kind of funny, I've had some areas that they marvel at how well we work together here in Alliance. Once a month, myself, Mark Locke at the Chamber, Joe Mazzola at the city, and the mayor, we have a meeting once a month and just sit down and talk about things that are happening. And I think that open line of communication helps us to be a lot more successful than a lot of other areas. I mean, there's some areas where they're like, no, we want to make sure we get credit for this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so we all work really well together, and I think we're not about who's going to get credit. We're just about, let's just get the win for Alliance.
Yeah, bring everybody up at the same time is what's important.
Sure. Yeah.
So what would be one piece of advice you would give to somebody starting out in economic development? Maybe they're watching this because they did hear about the great Rick Baxter.
Nice. Well, I would say, definitely, one of the things that's really helped me in my background was getting into sales. I was in banking, and actually banking, when I first started banking, banking used to be where you had a branch and people sat at their desk and they waited for people to come in. And that was the banking world. You rarely picked up the phone, you rarely went out and called on anybody, you just sat and waited for the business to come. Over the years, more banks had come in and they became more competitive with each other. And then that's where the sales side of things started to enter into the banking world. And that's kind of how I got into the banking world. I didn't have a lot of banking background, but I got into a sales type of position. where I was just good at building relationships and getting out and making calls and building building my book of business that way. So I think that's it. It can be sales can be scary because there's an aspect of if I don't get out there and work hard and hustle, maybe I'm not going to have as much food the next day or something,
Right.
But there's also the one thing that I can say is don't be afraid of rejection. It's going to happen, and it builds character. I feel over time it's built a lot of character for me by, you're not going to win it all. You're not going to win every sale. You're going to get sales where someone's going to outbid you, or they like that other person better. Just don't take it personal, and just keep grinding and work on that. But that experience has helped me along the way through this position, because I'm the same way here. Hey, we're not going to get every company that we talk to, but we're going to try to do our best and give our best effort to do it. So,
yeah, great advice. Thanks for that. So tell me, who has been maybe your most important professional mentor along the way?
Yeah, well, I've had some really great, bosses along the way. Some that I just, look back at my time. I spent almost 9-10 years at Consumers National Bank. Scott Dodds, who was my boss, but he was also a mentor, and Ralph Lober. Those two are just hardworking people that are just kind of that same mentality that I have as far as working hard, being honest with people, and just they just taught me a lot about leadership and how to be a good leader. Scott was always the type of leader that was very motivational. Hey, let's you can do this. Not the boss is like, okay, you didn't do this, and this today. Why? It was more looking at the positive. So those are the types of people that I've enjoyed working for. And actually, when I took this position, they were two that were very happy for me. I mean, they were sad to see me go, but they knew that this was a type of position that I could thrive in and really make a bigger impact than I ever could maybe in the banking world for this region or for this area. So yeah, two guys, and then Scott Robertson, obviously a local guy here, owns a business. He's the chairman of my board. He's been a great mentor as well, as far as very successful family-owned business that his grandfather started, and he's even taken to another level. But he's the same way. He works with people really well, and he's a good communicator. So those are just a few.
It's fantastic to have those people who celebrate those wins with you
Yeah.
and help you advance in yourself, even if maybe they're not directly advantaging from it at the time.
Right.
Wanting to see you do well. So tell me, what's maybe a lesson that economic development in that role has taught you, or that you think everybody should learn? Like, what have you learned in your 2 years as the economic development president?
Yeah, well, I would say, just looking at obviously the challenges that we had to face with COVID, but just continuing to maintain contact with people. Always looking for different opportunities that I'm very proactive in trying to. My kids said when I took this job, Dad, if you do one thing for Alliance, just get a Chick-fil-A here, and you'll be successful.
You aren't there yet.
We're not there yet. Sorry, that's not happening yet. So, but it's funny how I in my mind, I'm a go-getter, sales type of person. So I regularly contact Chick-fil-A headquarters, and I say, hey, why not Alliance? And so, and I'm going to continue to do that. And so, there's just continue to keep that conversation open. And as Alliance continues to grow, obviously there may be more opportunities for them to think, hey, this is a good market for us to be in, and I want to make sure that they know, the things that we have happening here. So.
Oh, I can't wait for the Chick-fil-A. So,
I think we would have a lot of people in Alliance that would enjoy that.
Yeah, I'd be over there every single day.
Yeah.
So in your unique role as a person who does economic development, have you come across anything that you think this is kind of my thing, and nobody else really agrees with you in that role? I don't know how economic development presidents, you talked about Team Neal, you've talked about Stark. There's not like maybe there is a big networking or a conference where you all get together in a room.
Yeah.
But is there something that's unique to Rick that almost nobody else would agree with you about?
Wow, I don't know. I guess I could just say, my style may be a little different than some other people in the economic development world. My style is continue to contact and look for opportunities, and don't sit and wait for it. I don't know, maybe other economic development people, maybe don't think like that. They're thinking, well, let's put together more marketing pieces that we can mail out, or let's put together more videos that we can send out and attract people that way. With me, I feel like it's more like, hey, let's make a personal connection with them and find ways to get in front of them, to talk to them, and tell them about what we have to offer. There's certain things that are nice. It's nice to have those marketing pieces, but to me, being face-to-face in conversation with people, I think, is more my style that I enjoy.
Face-to-face, that makes a big difference.
Which put a lot of hold on it during COVID. We couldn't do a lot of that, so we're getting back to that, which is
getting back to your comfort level.
Yes, which is a lot more fun.
So you have a pretty small organization there. So I think a staff of 2, if I'm correct. Right?
Yeah, myself and then our administrative assistant, Lydia DeGrange. She's been around with the organization for, probably going close to 10 years. She's been a great resource for me because she's very knowledgeable about things that have even happened in the past that she has to, she can talk about or let me know about, and really enjoy working with her. She works really hard and does a great job. So, but yeah, the 2 of us, and then kind of how we're funded. If you go to our website, allianceadf.com, you can check out our website, but we have member organizations that support us financially, different levels. So we have voting members and non-voting members, but they support us all financially, and that's what helps make our organization run. And you think about those organizations, why would they want to support us? And I think, kind of like I mentioned, those organizations are looking at, hey, by supporting what Alliance Area Development does, we're supporting the community, we're supporting growth, which means more opportunities for their businesses. So that's kind of how the circle works. They support us, we go out and do what we do, bring more people here, bring more revenue here, bring more tax dollars here. That's going to help all the area businesses.
Well, and me thinking about a small organization of 2, how in the world do you get anything done in the day? I have a small organization, I have a great team, but it's still hard to get everything done.
Yeah.
How do you keep yourself productive during the day with such a small organization?
Yeah, so we do a lot. I do a lot of email conversations and keeping up with people. I'm usually towards the end of the week. Thursdays and Fridays, I spend a lot of time setting up calls for the next week. I like to come into work on Monday with a week that's full. I don't like to have weeks where I know, hey, I'm just going to be sitting here in the office, maybe not being out as much. So trying to make sure that we, have a lot of things scheduled. Lydia takes care of a lot of the incoming calls if we have people calling with questions, or she'll take care of all the accounting work and things that we have to maintain. Another thing that we also, there's another organization called the Greater Alliance Development Corporation, which we manage that. And basically what that organization is it's kind of when the city buys a property and they want to get it out to sell, it sits in that GADC for temporarily. It's a nonprofit, and then once it gets moved to the end buyer. So it's kind of like a in-between company between the city and the end buyer. But that doesn't have a lot of activity, but we keep up with the bookworks on that too. So really, between the 2 of us, we try to run as efficiently as possible and maintain, reaching out and doing the things we need to do to make things happen.
Staying structured and having that plan
is
important. So you work with a lot of small businesses, and larger businesses, and you've seen it through COVID. And maybe this wouldn't be a business that you would start, but if I said, I'm going to start a business, what business should I start right now, Rick?
Yeah, well, we were talking about this a little earlier. It seems like there's a lot of people that want to start event centers right now.
Okay.
there's
So maybe that isn't the business to start
right now, maybe
competition.
not. But I can see where their thoughts probably are, because during COVID there was a lot of weddings that were canceled.
Yeah.
And so, as things start to, COVID starts to slow down, all those people that didn't have the weddings and the receptions and things that they, could have had are going to start ramping up.
Yeah.
So maybe that's something that I'm not seeing, but maybe that's opportunity that, people are going to take advantage of.
The next opportunity, get some parties going.
Yeah.
So, okay, well then more of a personal then, what occupation, other than what you're doing now? You said you always thought this would be cool to do, so now you're doing it. But is there anything else you'd like to try at some point?
Wow, I don't think so. I kind of, when I took this job, I looked at this job as this is a job that I can probably do until I'm ready to retire.
Wow.
I love what I do. Prior to graduating from college, I went into business, got a business degree in marketing, and but I think prior to that, I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to coach basketball, played basketball in high school, a little bit in college, and so that's one thing I think I really would have enjoyed would have been being a teacher and coaching basketball. But I honestly really love what I do now. But that would have been another occupation, I think.
Maybe a business coach or an economic development.
There you go.
Future.
There you go.
You never know what could happen.
Yeah.
So, well, I appreciate you being on the Journey podcast today, Rick. We got a couple of rapid fire questions here at the end. Everybody gets asked these questions, so can't get out of these. What are 3 books you would recommend to the audience and why?
Wow. Okay. One of the books I think I read when I was in college that somebody recommended me was a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. It's an older book, and when I was younger, I was really glad I read that because it taught me a lot about just conversation with people. The book talks about how when you're talking to somebody, if you want to be an influencer of them, if you're talking to them all about yourself the whole time, are they really going to be interested in talking to you much?
Yeah.
So the book is, and I recommend it to anybody. It's a great book. It's just learning how to be able to get yourself in a position to influence people in just a simple conversation. There's another book. I'm trying to remember. I think I wrote that down. Another book that it's called The Hero Effect. We actually read this book when I was at Consumers and part of a leadership training I went through. But The Hero Effect just talks about really customer service and going above and beyond and being not a hero with a cape, but a hero with your customer service as far as how you win customers, those types of things by going above and beyond. So that's a pretty good book. It's not a big book, but it's a really good read. And then in my faith, the Bible has always been
a popular one.
Yes, very popular and very true throughout the ages. So, but there's so much in the Bible that applies to the business world too. I mean, it's just like I talk about the honesty and treating people honestly and that too. So that's obviously one of my favorite books. So.
Absolutely. Okay, so if I'm starting a business today, what's one word of wisdom you would give me?
I would say the biggest thing is, and I tell anybody that's looking to start a business is do a business plan. Mm-hmm. I always give the example of if I were out to build a house, I would just take a shovel and start digging and start laying brick and doing that. I would take the time to organize my thoughts, put together a business plan with strategies and marketing things, and even throw in some projections to kind of give myself an idea. It kind of helps you put the foundation down for the house. Yeah. And then once that foundation is built, kind of like the Bible, on solid rock, you build a house, you don't build it on sand. A business plan is that solid rock. And that way your foundation's strong, then it helps you, to be more successful. So I would say definitely business plan.
Well, absolutely. Great. Yeah, business plan. If you don't have that, I don't know what you're doing, to be honest. So what's one question you wish I would have asked you today after all these questions?
I guess, how about a question for you?
All right, go for it. I have to ask it though.
Yes. Well, how about what have you seen that you feel that has been helped you become more successful? Because I mean, starting a business is not an easy thing to do. And what got you to the point where you're like, I really believe I can do this?
I believe that it was relationships
Yeah.
in the reason I did this, and the listeners can go find this on our YouTube channel, but the starting point of my story, I'm standing in my friend's conference room, I'm a sales rep, and I was kind of complaining about my day that I had to go do. And he goes, Nate, when are you going to start your own business? And I was like, I'm never going to start my own business again. I already failed at one. He goes, I failed at like 15.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And so that really got the wheels turning, but really through the relationships, I started to believe that, you know, he believed in me and other people believed that I could do this. And that really got me like, okay, everybody else believes in me. Why can't I believe in myself? It got me motivated to go start doing that.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
About my story. So, all right, Rick Baxter with Alliance Area Development. Where can we find you online so we can learn more about?
Yeah, so www.allianceadf.com. That'll get you to our website. Tells you a little bit about us. We're also, if you look up Alliance Area Development on Facebook, we're also on Facebook, on YouTube. We also have a LinkedIn account and a Twitter account. So we try to keep things out there that are happening. It seems like a lot of the things that we'll put out there, you know, if there's some land or something that dirt's moving, we'll take a little video and we'll just kind of throw it out there and ask people, what do you think's going in here? And it's been a great response. I mean, I think people, and we like to see that too because it kind of gives us an idea of what people want to see.
Yeah.
And so,
Chick-fil-A.
yeah, exactly. And that's when we put that out, that's a very popular answer. But yeah, we love to have people interact with us. Tell us what you're thinking. You know, tell us you know what things you like to see in Alliance, and maybe things that you know are really positive. We love to hear positive things. I think there's a lot of great things happening in our city. We're seeing a lot more activity downtown. The downtown Alliance area has a lot of things happening. Our concert series in the summers is going on down there now. There's a festival down there earlier in the summer, or last summer. Lots of nice shops, and there's a restaurant opening up down there. So that's happening, and obviously our west side is happening with the mall. It's going to be rejuvenated, I guess you could say. There's going to be some Myers, as if you've watched in the paper. Myers is coming to town, so that's pretty exciting. So a lot of good things happening. So we love to interact with people and hear more about you know, what people are thinking.
Fantastic. Well, go follow Alliance Area Development on their social media channels. Learn more about what they're doing. We thank Rick for all that he does with the Alliance Area Development. Today, thanks Rick for being a part of it.
Thanks for having me.
Sure.
Yep.